Hey guys, welcome to this week's review of The Real Housewives of Beverly Hills Reunion Part 2. Okay, let's just get right into it. Can I say this first? I am pleasantly surprised with these reunions, okay? Part 2, and we're getting into the Erica stuff. We even got into the Erica stuff in Part 1. So, in my naivete, I thought they would do kind of like what they usually do, where one part they would kind of focus heavily on the main conflict of the season. But I do like how they are spreading it out throughout the parts. I'm assuming part 3 they're gonna bring up more stuff about Erica and Tom, right? I think now they're just trying to get Erica's story, her backstory, and then probably in part 3 and part 4, we're gonna get more of her and the other ladies and their reaction to what went down. So, who knows? They may need 4 parts. We'll see though. Let me not speak too soon, okay? Let me see how these other parts are playing out. But, part 2 is always good, right? It usually is. So, let's just get into it, okay? Erica, I just really, I'll be honest with you guys, I really do not know, right? Like, I would love to say Erica's guilty. She knew what was going on. She planned this divorce with Tom to hide assets, because that's plausible, right? But I would also like to say Erica's innocent. She didn't know what was going on. She just thought she married a rich man and she's enjoying the spoils of that. She didn't know that he was up to illegal crap. She was just a rich housewife. That's just what she was. That's plausible as well. So I'm just at the point where I keep flipping and flopping. I hear, okay, when they showed the flashback, right? When she was talking about Tom, oh yeah, the COVID has been great for us because we're able just to, sit down and talk to each other, and it's just so great. And her saying, Tom allows me to be me and I allow him to be him and we just get along. And that slowly starts to unfold. Not slowly, actually pretty quickly that starts to unfold. And then we get this entirely different story of how Tom's been cheating on him. How Tom has been cheating on her and how he has dementia and all these stuff. And it's like, but that's not what you've been saying about him. Not this season's, but seasons before. And I'll be honest with you, I think when someone tries to make someone seem too perfect, I'm giving them the side eye. I never really believed that Tom and Erica was this perfect couple. I mean, isn't there like a 40-year age gap? There's a big age, okay, not 40. Well, he's 80 and she's 50, so that's 30-year age gap, right? So it's not like I believe that they were all grand and they were all great. But how can I say this? I don't necessarily think Erica is a great actress, but even if you're a terrible actress or a terrible liar, if you keep saying things over and over and over again, it's like, how are we supposed to know what's true or not true? She could be performing right now during the reunion, right? I think she has lied and been inconsistent and has told half-truths. Even when Erica was telling her story, Kyle was like, this is the first time we are hearing the full story of what's went down. Before, we're just hearing bits and pieces. And I understand as part of the audience, we're not going to hear everything, right? And I know these ladies are not all of them are truly friends like that. But I thought Erica and Kyle, well, at least before this season, had some sort of friendship, right? But I guess maybe it's not a good form to talk crap about your husband with someone that you're on a reality television show with, right? Who's very messy. I get that, but for no one to know what was going on, I don't know. I just don't know how to feel about it. Speaking of Kyle, Bethany Frankel did say that she was full of crap, that she knew what was going on, that Kyle knew what was going on with Erica and Tom, and that they weren't this happy couple, right? And even Kyle kind of admit during this reunion of how, like, yeah, you know, you would say certain things and I got the impression that you weren't happy, but we hear so many rumors, so you don't know what to believe. And it's like, okay, it seems like all these rumors are turning out to be true. So you're hearing all these rumors and you dismiss them, but I don't know. Maybe we need to give them a little bit more weight. Like, moving back to Erica, I mean, I don't want to repeat things I've been saying, things everybody has been saying. I'm not a lawyer. I'm not a criminal investigator. Like, I don't have the tea. I don't have the insider. All I'm doing is listening to these ladies, right? And interpreting it and seeing what makes sense to me. I just get the impression of, like, Tom cheating. Okay, I definitely can believe Tom was cheating. The problem I have with the Tom cheating thing, as I said before, he is in a mental decline, right? He has dementia. Yet he's running a law office and he's cheating. And, like, if he was so cognitively, you know, in a bad place, would he be able to do all these things? Now, conspiracy theory, some people believe that he is faking it, right? And if he's faking it, him having an affair kind of aligns with that for me, because it's hard to believe that someone is out of the loop, but yet they're able to do all these things. Now, it could be possible. It depends on what stage he is in. But it seems like this has been going on for a while. This just didn't happen, you know, a month and then Erica decided to get a divorce by the way that she's talking about it. So I'm a little bit confused with that one. And the whole last season, right? They came over. I remember watching that scene last season when we've been introduced to Tom before, but he doesn't show up a lot, right? And when they all went over to our house, it was kind of cringy, you know? But I find it kind of weird when they try to say, oh, well, you know, when you have Alzheimer's, you repeat yourself and you tell old stories and yada, yada, yada. And fine, yeah, I can definitely believe that, sure. And her saying, well, he didn't know any of you guys' names. Oh, okay, fine, we don't really have a scene of him calling Garcelle Barcel or something else. Like, we don't have, okay, fine, but I was sort of expecting the other ladies to sort of speak up and say, yeah, you know what? He did seem a little foggy to me. You know, when we were talking to him, he didn't seem all there. He forgot my name. He would be mid-sentence and then forget what he was saying and wander off. Like, I was expecting them to give us something to back up her claims, right? But all they could really give is Kyle saying, I believe it was Kyle, oh, I have a friend and their mother or their father or whatever it was has Alzheimer's, and they said watching Tom reminded them of their parent who has Alzheimer's, that same fogginess in their eyes. And it's like, okay, I'm not necessarily saying that couldn't be true, but how could you tell through the TV screen? How could you look in someone's eyes through the TV screen and determine if they have Alzheimer's or not. Just based on that clip, that's all I'm saying. Like, how could you tell? I guess if you know, you know. But why is that the barometer of whether or not you think Tom has Alzheimer's versus you actually being in the room with Tom, you actually having conversation with Tom? None of the ladies said, yeah, when I was speaking to him, I noticed these things. Now, Dorit said, yeah, he was telling these stories, but they weren't current. And it's like, okay, like I said, that could be an argument, but we're not going to just pretend that people don't tell stories of things that happened to them in the past. Actually, I think most stories are based on the past, right? Like, how do you know it's just not an old person, regaling the adventures that they once had because they want to seem cool or they want to be admired, or there's so many reasons someone would tell a story from their past. You can't say they have Alzheimer's because of that. Now, I'm not, like I said before, could that be a sign? Sure, it could be, but I'm going to need a little bit more information, right? And if you interacted with this man, you saw him, Erica is your friend. Well, for some of these ladies, Erica is your friend. So yeah, okay, you may have not saw Tom all the time, but you probably seen him once in a while. Erica, of course, she tries to keep up this airs of like, okay, we have this perfect relationship. But you mean to tell me Erica didn't let something slip? And I don't know, there's not enough evidence for me. All of this is just coming out of nowhere, right? And listen, Erica doesn't have to prove anything to me. She has to prove it to the court, okay? The court of law, not to me, okay? Not to Sophia Bow, but to the court of law. So it is what it is, I guess. But I don't know, I'm going to need some documentation of her going to the doctor and the doctor saying, oh, well, I don't want to get sued. And okay, I guess that's believable because he's this famous lawyer that sues people. And it's just, it's like she's very convincing, right? What she's saying makes sense. But once you start to sort of dig deep and analyze the detail and then compare it to what she said in the past, it's like the story keeps evolving and changing. And I don't know, maybe the other ladies can't really back her up in her claims because she's been so secretive and that kind of has backfired on her, or maybe because there's nothing really to report. Because I'm pretty sure if the ladies had something to say to prove that, yeah, when we met Tom, he kept telling the same story over and over and over again. He did this, he did that. But I'm not getting that from them. They're trying, but they're not giving me anything that would prove beyond the doubt that he has Alzheimer's. I'm sorry. I don't know. I'm not getting it. But I'm going to reserve judgment till everything plays out. Erica is pulling out my heartstrings just a little bit. But Andy read a question like, well, if you know that he's not doing well, why would you divorce him now? Right? So it's like, you didn't divorce him because he has Alzheimer's. You didn't divorce him because of the legal troubles, because allegedly you didn't know what was going on. You didn't divorce him because he was cheating on you, because it seems like he's been cheating on you for a while now, right? She tells the story of how, I guess she discovered him cheating 3 times and said that when she left, she actually saw a text message from a woman who sent pictures of her boobs, right? So you're not leaving him because of that. you say, oh, he didn't hug me, he didn't do this, he didn't do that. But then on other clips, you say how he's so amazing and he accepts you for who you are. So what is really going on here? And I don't know, maybe Andy is going to ask her that later on, point blank. Why did you leave Tom? I want to hear that answer. I really. Does Dorit talk too much? Probably. Right, but I don't know. I like Dorit. I do. I like her. Do I think she should come back? I think she would make a good friend to the show. But I like her, and it is what it is. No one's perfect. Everyone has their faults. I mean, what are you going to do about it? Yeah, this was an okay segment. I'm going to give Dorit also the benefit of the doubt when Garcelle asked her, well, are the only brown people and black people in your life people that work for you? And she says, no, that's not what I meant. I have close family friends that are brown and black and whatever. So I don't know Dorit, I don't know her life, but it isn't too far-fetched to believe, because if you know a little bit about Dorit's story, it seems like she has been all over the world. I think she speaks 100 languages or so. So I'm going to assume if you are so well-traveled that you probably come across many different types of people, and you have the potential to build bonds and friendships with many different types of people. So yeah, I don't think Dorit meant it like that. I'm just gonna give her the benefit of the doubt and say, like she said, that she misspoke. Okay, let's just do that for Dorit. Kathy, on the other hand, is another story, but I feel like Kathy is in her own world and her own bubble, because I don't know what her net worth is, right? So I'm not even gonna touch on that. Dorit and her nose job. I mean, sorry, not Dorit and her nose job. Let me not say that. People have claimed that Dorit has had a nose job. I mean, I don't think so. I'm going to believe her, because why lie? Especially nowadays, plastic surgery is not a taboo. And even if you look at the before and after, the before picture, it looks like she's in high school. So she probably was 16, 15, 17. And as you get older, your face does change a bit for some people, right? Like when you're younger, your face has more fat, is a little bit more chubby. And as you get older, you lose the baby fat, right? And you can see, if you compare the before and after, you can see that Dorit has lost a bit of weight. Like Dorit is a lot smaller than she was in that picture. So it could make sense why her nose would change a little bit, but I don't think it has changed that dramatically to me. So I believe that she didn't get a nose job. Call me naive, but that's what I believe. Now that plastic surgeon in that flashback, I mean, that plastic surgeon, I don't want to call him evil, because I feel like that's a little bit dramatic. But that's the danger, right? Like, you feel perfectly fine with yourself, and you'll have someone just pointing out all the perceived flaws, not because they really care about you. Though I think if someone cares about you, they're not going to just point out everything that's wrong with your face, right? But it's not even like he cares. His main motivation is ka-ching, ka-ching. He wants to make money. He knows that Dorit has money. She's on television, that she probably is going to want to fix any imperfection that she perceives that she has. So, of course, he's going to sow the seed of yeah, your nose is a little wide. Do you see how wide it is? Now smile for me. Do you see how your nose bumps up and everything? And it's I don't know. Nowadays, it's so weird. Everybody wants to look the same. Everybody wants to look like these filters, right? And it's of course, when you smile, your nose wrinkles up when you smile. These are normal, natural things that happen when you express yourself and move your face. Like, not everybody has to have the same nose, the same mouth, the same eyes, the same eyebrows, the same body shape. Everybody's just conforming into one big giant glob. And it's annoying, right? And I don't like that plastic surgeon. He was very rude. Duh. But I guess if she did ask for his opinion on what he thought she should get done, then I guess that's fair. I guess. But I don't know. That was a little dirty of him. So, you know how I said part 2 was starting off really well? You know, remember how I said I was optimistic about it, but that I shouldn't speak too soon? Well, this is why. I kept watching, and it's taking a nose dive, not a nose drive. It's taking a nose dive for me. I don't know why they pieced it together like this. If it was me, maybe I would have put Lisa Rinna at the beginning, you know, when the audience has a little bit more patience. And then kind of put the Erica Jane stuff, and then finish off with the Dorit and Kathy stuff, right? Just to give it a little bit of more of a balance, because now it's like, I don't really care about what Dorit had going on. I like Dorit, but I don't care. Lisa Rinna, I don't like her, and I definitely do not care. But it was part of the episode, so let's just talk about it for a little bit. I'm glad that, is her daughter named Olivia? I'm just gonna say her daughter's name, Olivia. I'm happy that Lisa Rinna's daughter, maybe Olivia, is not dating Scott Disick anymore. I'm glad for that. Am I shocked? No. But I'm glad. I will say, I don't know, when I was watching the season, I just got this impression that Lisa Rinna was low-key excited about her daughter dating Scott Disick because of his connections to the Kardashians. To be honest, I don't feel like she was that upset about it. And even with the breakup, she's not like, thank God that's over. Oh, amen. It's kind of like very calm and subdued, but maybe she's doing that kind of to protect her daughter's privacy, because that's not her business or her relationship. So I'll give her that. Whatever. Next, they talked about Harry Hamlin. And Harry Hamlin seems like a great husband. Like, I would want a husband that cooks and has a garden and, well, I don't know what else he does, but cooking is a very, very major part. I love to eat. So to have a husband that cooks for you and enjoys cooking for themselves, because you don't want someone's like, oh, great, I have to make this dinner, and you know, and they're moping around and they're grumpy and they don't enjoy it. It seems like he enjoys cooking and he enjoys his garden. So it's pleasure for him to feed you. And that's amazing, right? Harry Hamlin seems great. However, if you watch Cheryl's World, I believe one of the callers came and called in one time, and they told this story about Harry Hamlin. And I hope it's not true. I'll just say that. I'm not going to go into details about what that story entails, but if it's true, he may not be so great of a guy. But I'm just going to base it off of what I see on my screen and what I see on the show, and Harry Hamlin seems like a decent fellow. And of course, Lisa Rinna has to bring Andy his damn sauce, his damn tomato sauce from the tomatoes in his garden. And I loved how they joke, like, Andy, you better text Harry right now and say thank you, right? Oh my gosh. I mean, that's the highlight of this episode, right? Andy getting some tomato sauce. I don't know. We're going to keep watching. So, Kathy and Kyle had a really sweet moment together. And I'm glad that they are finally talking again. I really am. Like I said before, initially I wasn't too excited with Kathy coming onto the show because I felt like it's going to be more of the gang up thing, or it's going to turn more into the Kyle show. But, you know, I take that back. Kathy has been a great addition, and Kathy's authentic, right? And, well, I don't know what it's like to grow up like Kathy and Kyle and Kim, but I do get it. Like a lot of families, I grew up in a similar family where it's like family business is family business, right? You don't go talking about what's going on in the home. So I can only imagine being on a reality television show how that entirely goes against that principle, right? Or even if you are a creative, right? Or you're like Kyle, where you want to write a show based on your life. On one hand, I get it, it's your story, so you have the right to tell that story, but then on the other hand, your story does involve other people, and nobody's perfect, right? And of course, with television shows, whether it's fiction or nonfiction, it's predicated on some sort of drama, right? And if it's predicated on some sort of drama, that does mean that you have to talk about the things that reveals the flaws in people. And if you've been raised not to talk about those things, to protect those things, to hide those things, to project this image, this perfect image onto the world, that's a major contradiction. And I think particularly for Kathy, I think maybe it was a bit easier for her to uphold these things because she married a Hilton and was extremely wealthy. So she didn't necessarily have to worry about providing an income, right? Not on the same level. Well, if you look into Kim's history, she married very well as well. Kyle, not so much. Not that Maurizio doesn't do well for himself now, right? But I guess when you're not in that position, you're more willing to kind of expose things. I don't know. But when they showed that clip of the first season, I mean, Kyle was wrong for that, right? Like, that must have been very hard to watch two of your sisters fight and basically air their dirty laundry. Right, and if I was Kathy, I would be looking at that like, see, this is why you guys shouldn't have went on this reality show. Now everybody knows your business. Now everybody's going to be talking and speculating, and that's just going to do more damage. And I hate to sort of say it, but it's kind of true. I mean, you never really know how things could work out, so it's kind of hard to say, but I don't think it's a stretch to say that Kim being on reality television definitely hasn't helped her sobriety. But on the other hand, maybe her being on reality television has given her a lot more opportunities in which she wouldn't have if she wasn't on. So, like Sharknado, I don't know if that's much of an opportunity, but still, hey, it is what it is. But Kim is still like despite all Kim's flaws, like, Kim is a fan favorite. And I do like Kim. She's not perfect, but nobody is. So who's to say how you should live your life or what you should do? Life is so complicated. But at the end of the day, like I said, I'm glad that they're able to come together, Kathy and Kyle, and kind of reconcile. And I hope that Kathy stays a friend of the show, right? So we don't have to get too much into her dirt. And I like her where she is at now, to sort of be a comic relief, you know, to give the show a little bit more texture, right? But I don't want to get into all that drama, because, I mean, let's be real. There's definitely drama with Kathy. There's definitely things we can get into, right? One of those things we can get into is Paris Hilton. Remember when she did that documentary and she talked about that school she went to? That school that was like extremely abusive. And I remember, and this is part of the reason why I didn't like Kathy, if I'm being honest. I watched that documentary, and when Paris Hilton told Kathy, her mom, about what went on in that school, Kathy was very stoic. And I know everybody is different. Everybody expresses their emotions differently. You know, some people don't feel comfortable crying in public, right? Or crying around cameras and people they don't really know. But her reaction was very cold. You know, she felt very uncomfortable. And seeing kind of the person that she is, she didn't want to look bad. She didn't want to look like a bad parent. So for her daughter to really call her out is like, I think what was going on in her mind, like, oh my gosh, my daughter went through all this and she's saying this in front of cameras right now. How is this going to look? And that doesn't necessarily make her a bad person, but you can see where the problem starts to arise, where you're caring more in that moment. You're caring more about your image and how you're being perceived than versus empathizing with your daughter. Your daughter is reaching out to you right now and telling you how hurt she is emotionally. And it's like you've shut down. You've put up this wall. So when she needs you the most, right? When she needs you the most to reach out and feel sorrow and feel regret and whatever, it's like you're indifferent. And I think that causes more pain long term, and that communicates to her that you're not a safe person I can come to. You're not a safe person I can tell my feelings to, because you're more concerned about how it's going to look versus what's going on with me and in my heart. I don't know. So let's be real. I'm pretty sure there's a lot of dirt with Kathy if we really were to get into it. But you know what? I don't want to see that from Kathy. I want to see her be the friend of the show, comic relief. Let's just keep it there. Because, I mean, the Richards sisters have given enough. Kim Richards has given enough, okay? She has given enough drama. She has given enough of her dirt. We don't really need any more from the Richards sisters. They can kind of just be there. And I just realized, I don't know if Ramona's going to be back for Real Housewives of New York. That's sort of up in the air. So it seems like Kyle is the OG of the OGs. She is. She's not the most liked, but you know what? I can't deny she brings something to the show. She really does. She really does. And now with Kathy there, it just strengthens her position on the show. Well, guys, that was part 2. Did I enjoy it? Nah. I enjoyed the Erica part, and I enjoyed the Kathy and Kyle part. The Lisa Rinna and the Dorit part, even though I do understand that we had to talk about them, right? Because it did happen during the season, so we do have to get a follow-up, but there was nothing really to follow up on or to make any sort of conclusions, because the Dorit thing, we kind of talked about that on part 1 with the whole exchange with Garcelle. I felt like they could have just brought that up then, and we could have had that moment at that point, right? So to kind of bring it up again, it was like, well, we already came to a conclusion. So you can start to see things that are like fillery, and it's annoying, right? So I'm gonna go back to what I originally said. This could have been 3 parts instead of 4. This definitely could have been 3 parts. Even with the Lisa Rinna, when they were doing her flashback throughout the season, was it just me? Or they were playing her whole season? They were playing all the scenes that Lisa Rinna was in without the other ladies. They were just playing the whole damn scene. And it's like, you know, Harry Hamlin's great and everything, but I just don't really care to see him in his garden again, and to see her with the hose and doing a fire drill. It's like nothing really happened. I don't know. It is what it is, okay? I already watched the damn thing. They already filmed the damn 4 parts, so me complaining about it is not going to change anything. And of course, I'm going to watch part 3. And of course, I'm going to watch part 4. So I just need to shut up, right? I'm turning into Dorit right now. Anyways, guys, that's everything. See ya. And don't forget to like, subscribe, and comment.